Alright, so this next reaction is the top 10 scariest wrestlers of all time by Parts Unknown. And yes, we are taking a look at who is the most of scariest wrestlers of all time. Including myself as a Sandy Jack, because when I make one, I did make one in case I sell y'all like last time. But it's not about, me. It's about who is more scarier wrestler. I know there's The Undertaker was scary. King was scarier. Well, in the 90s and also in 2000 as well. So except at the end, he's not probably that scary anymore. I guess I don't know, but we got Abyss, Mankind, of course, Boogeyman, um, Rosemary. Um, I mean, there's plenty other that is more scary that are scarier, scariest wrestlers, of course. Due to the fact if it was a gimmick of the whole, the the monster or a demon or anything like that. I mean, it's very cool, but yeah. So let's check it out in five, four, three, two.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
John Cena, of course.
It's the most wonderful time of.
Shit, hold on. Oh my bad. It's in the way. Sorry about that.
Happy Halloween, everyone. It's the most wonderful time of the fear. Hope the spooky, scary skeletons treat you nice this season and you finally get to egg the house of that crusty old Dean. Halloween isn't normally the best time to be a wrestling fan because normally that means Hell in a Cell, and the last 5 years, Hell in a Cell matches have been normally bad. However, with Hell in the Cell already out the way this year, WWE decided to schedule their second most horrific pay-per-view type, a Saudi Arabia show. Boo! Boo. Don't worry, I'm not going to spend another list pissing all over WWE's disgustingly gold-plated chips. We did that last week. Check it out if you feel like feeling sad for a little bit. This week, we're celebrating something a bit more positive. A bit. We're looking at the wrestlers who are best at striking fear into the hearts of the audience, but in a fun way. Mostly in a fun way. I'm Adam, hailing from Parts Unknown, and these are our 10 scariest wrestlers of all time. And you know what will keep you safe from the Halloween spooky doos this season? If you like and subscribe, because if you don't, they'll fucking get you. Number 10, The Undertaker. Oh, I can hear you now rushing.
Damn it! Of course, an Undertaker would have to be in the number 10. God damn it! Why can't he be in the number one? That's bullshit. But yeah, man, The Undertaker's one of my childhood fan favorite. Due to the fact that he even more scared than always than King, like dude at the '90s. Yeah, good times, man.
Because if you don't, they'll fucking get you. Number 10, The Undertaker. Oh, I can hear you now rushing to your keyboards. A sad inevitability of feigned outrage. Surely, as the most famous horror-themed gimmick of all time, surely The Undertaker has to be number one. Well, he isn't, and don't call me Shirley. Because, I'll say it slowly enough for everyone to understand, The Undertaker is not now and never has been scary. He wasn't scary as a dead cowboy, like he was in a Deadwood-branded pantomime. He wasn't scary as a biker, unless you think weird tough guy beat poetry about being the crazy brave and also burying Kurt Angle is scary. And he wasn't scary in his final incarnation of the Dead Man, no matter how many rocking chairs he set fire to with lightning. He is a legendary spookums gimmick, so yes, it would be heresy to leave him off the list, but here is a rundown of non-scary things Undertaker has done. That Netflix movie, which is nowhere near as good as we were hoping for, making Josh Matthews talk like.
Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot about that on Netflix. How was it? Is it good? I think I heard a lot of people that say it was good because I think I might try it out next time. You know, at the end of the Halloween, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out soon later. But yeah, let me know comment down below how was it on Netflix.
Yes, it would be heresy to leave him off the list, but here is a rundown of non-scary things Undertaker has done. That Netflix movie, which is nowhere near as good as we were hoping for, making Josh Matthews talk like him with possession, taking Teddy Long on a shisha joyride, that weird laugh he had with Brock Lesnar, killing his friend with cement. I guess the closest that prop tragedy ever came to IRL shivers was Ministry of Darkness Taker, but that's mostly because he once tried to marry Stephanie McMahon, which is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, I remember that. That shit was so scary while I was a kid, man. Like I remember a long time ago, like the Undertaker, the Ministry of Darkness, is more scarier than the original ones during to the '90s. Cause that part of on the WWE Backlash in 1999, I remember like it was so scary. Like the Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, and it said, "Where to, Stephanie?" It was so scary. And the part, and my favorite part on, the dark wedding, of course. Well, I mean, it would be cool if they made it the dark wedding in real life, cause that'd be so cool. Actually, somebody else did. I think so. But anyways, due to the dark wedding, um, when the Undertaker decided to marry Stephanie McMahon, man, it was far more scarier than Kane wanted to marry Lita, which is more scarier because the monster married the human. So that that would make sense. I guess. I mean, every monster married a human, cause that'd be freaking crazy. But yeah, man, it was a good time, man. I really love it so much, man.
Tragedy ever came to IRL shivers was Ministry of Darkness Taker, but that's mostly because he once tried to marry Stephanie McMahon, which is a terrifying prospect. Number 9, the Boogeyman. I mean,
Of course.
right, look, scary feels like a strong word for a man who looks like if Flavor
What
Flav
happened to
died by
Boogeyman?
drowning in ketchup. He looks more like a stripper that's taken his gimmick too far than a demon, but you can't really deny
Wow,
that the
really?
Boogeyman was, at the very least, unnerving. Like, you're really uncomfortable when he's around, but that's mostly down to the ick factor of the image of him with a mouthful of bloody real-life worms. Yes, that sets my oh-no senses tingling. Hearing his entrance music filled me with dread as a younger
I would
fan, so
eat
I
the
guess
worms.
that's something in the neighborhood of fear, although it's probably the part of the neighborhood that would smell really bad and have to be situated at least 15 blocks away from a school. Maybe he counts more as scary because if you don't act afraid of him, Jim Cornette will find you and slap the shit out of you. It all adds up. Number 8,
Hey, you want to make a bet of me eating a worm? I don't know. Chat, so y'all want to bet? I think I want to bet for me to eat them worms. I mean, I could try. I mean, how hard can it be? How hard can it be, man?
more as scary because if you don't act afraid of him, Jim Cornette will find you and slap the shit out of you. It all adds up. Number 8, Abaddon. Just really distressing to
Oh man, Abaddon. Oh, she's is one of my most favorite in AEW because the the gimmicks of her. I mean, god damn, like she reminds me of Rosemary Way. She even more scarier than always. I mean, Abaddon is the most fear AEW I ever seen. I mean, I know due to the fact that nobody else would be a Sister Abigail from Bray Wyatt, if that would have made sense. But due to the fact of Alexa Bliss, the whole scary gimmicks, which not bad, of course, not that bad. Her was the most, man. Like she was the best. I would love to see more of her of Abaddon. Cause if I ever wish that Abaddon was the first time woman AEW Women's Championship, that would be so sweet. Oh, and by the way, let me know if y'all want me to create her on probably. Actually, I already did. I don't know, but yeah.
from a school. Maybe he counts more as scary because if you don't act afraid of him, Jim Cornette will find you and slap the shit out of you. It all adds up. Number 8, Abaddon. Just really distressing to look at. Wrestling history is full of people who wouldn't otherwise seem that scary but have managed to create an intimidating look out. Face paint. Sting is a big silly grandpa, but the face paint makes him spooky. Luna Vachon, those cracks and veins she used to paint on her face made her seem genuinely unhinged. Ditto Bull Nakano. Rosemary has worked wonders with the paint. Demon Finn Balor creates something cool, apart from that one time at Halloween, lest we forget, when he morphed into Demon Finn Pumpkin Spice Edition. But by far and away, the queen of wrestling makeup is Abaddon, because Jesus Christ, you are what you eat. And she's just walked down to the ring immediately after eating the girl from the ring, but without even wiping the blood off first. Genuinely, it's better monster design than in half of modern horror cinema. She looks like what WWE think Lily looks like, and if you woke up to find Abaddon standing at the foot of your bed, you would scream your brain out through your eyes. Number 7, Jake Roberts. Silent.
Man, I would be scared as hell. Fucking classic. Oh, Jake the Snake Roberts would be scary? Oh yeah, because he had that damn snake, of course. No wonder.
Lily looks like, and if you woke up to find Abaddon standing at the foot of your bed, you would scream your brain out through your eyes. Number 7.
I mean, goddamn, man, that would be so scary.
The foot of your bed, you would scream your brain out through your eyes. Number 7, Jake Roberts. Silence is scarier than noises. A dagger is scarier than a firework. And you know what's 100 times scarier than a crazy, tall, roided up meathead screaming into the void about how he's going to pummel you? A man calmly looking into your eyes and describing in flat, unemotional terms about how he's going to ruin your life. Intention is everything with our number 7, Jake Snake Roberts, who inspired fear in his fellow man in 2 ways. First of all, carrying a huge f***ing python to the ring, which he'd occasionally attach to your mouth first, and yes, fair enough, that'll do it. That's enough for Andre the Giant to nope right out of the industry altogether. But the other is his style of promos, and honestly, they're the kind of gothic poetry that Bray Wyatt could only dream of. Articulate, calculating, and possessed with a truly unnerving stillness. That kind that freezes you in place, unable to look away like a deer held in the headlights of an oncoming car, which is before you even take into account his theme music, which is the best soundtrack an 80s slasher movie never had. Why don't you come and see how the devil's work is done? Jake the Snake was one of the scariest men walking in his day. Trust me. Number 6, Kevin Sullivan. Now listen, I'm not talking about the Dungeon of Doom. I'm not talking about this or this, and I'm definitely not talking about any of this. Those things are all very silly and come off like if Scooby-Doo had its budget slashed so Hanna-Barbera had to start making it in their garage. I'm talking about his time in the territories, namely Championship Wrestling from Florida and his Prince of Darkness gimmick. See, in the 80s, Satanic Panic was at its peak. Terrified parents were lashing out in all directions at anything that seemed like a corrupting influence over their baffling teenage kids, including Dungeons and Dragons. Matt Mercer eats babies, and that's a confirmable fact. Evil rock bands, and of course cults. Cults everywhere. In response, Kevin Sullivan decided to scoop up all the heat in the world by starting a sex cult faction, the Army of Darkness, years before Evil Dead 3 came out. He painted his face, savaged people with his gang of degenerates. The whole thing was designed specifically to tap into the new American horror for terrifying cults, something that had been around for a decade in the wake of the Manson family murders. Sullivan kidnapped and brainwashed multiple women. He essentially created the insane character of Luna Vachon. They brought snakes to the ring, daubed themselves in occult symbols, and it bloody worked, making him a top heel in multiple promotions. Number 5, Ox Baker. Good villains are built around myth. It's hard for misinformation to spread in the internet age, except what the f am I talking about? Of course it isn't. But it probably would be harder for a wrestler to inspire terror in quite the same way managed by Ox Baker. See, Baker had a simple but terrifying reputation that his finishing move killed people. Wrestling was easier in certain ways back then. Baker, who wrestled from 1964 to, checks notes, 2014, he retired at 80 years old? Bloody hell. His finisher was the heart punch, which is when he punches you in the chest. In some ways, wrestling was easier back then. It sounds tame, but the move became infamous when it was connected to 2 deaths in the 70s. In 1971, Alberto Torres died from a ruptured appendix following a match featuring Baker. And the following year, another wrestler called Ray Gunkel died of a heart attack in the locker room following a match with, that's right, Ox Baker. Neither deaths were in real life caused by the heart punch, but they were both worked into Baker's gimmick, giving him and his finisher a fearsome myths surrounding him, so much so that Baker once started a full-blown riot by heart-punching one of his opponents over and over. Now that
Jesus. Nobody ever told me
is
about
terror.
that.
Number 4, New
Nobody ever told me about that. The heart punch to the heart. Because nobody else used that move anymore. Because it's very dangerous. And good thing you notice that somebody else would die in a heart attack, and that's very deadly because nobody else want to use that move anymore, excluding myself. I don't want to use that move because that's not my cue of using that. But yeah, and and it sucks because I don't know. Maybe you'd rather use like a finishing move, punch to the head. I mean, or punch to the gut. I mean that. I mean, punch to the gut is a good idea, I guess. I don't know if that was the finisher. I don't
fearsome
know.
myths surrounding him, so much so that Baker
Yeah,
once
man.
started
But
a full-blown riot by
yeah,
heart-punching one
no.
of his opponents over and
That was
over. Now
more
that
dangerous, of course.
is terror. Number 4, New Jack. Ox
Oh, New
Baker
Jack, of
capitalized
course.
on real-life deadly injuries to generate fear in the wrestling
R.I.P.
business.
New
New Jack
Jack.
decided to just cut out the middleman, repeatedly cut many middlemen. Instability is scary, never quite being sure when someone is about to snap
Oh
and make
yeah,
it their God's
I
given
tell
mission to
you.
put you through a wall. Some wrestlers are scary because of sound effects, smoke, mirrors, and by projecting maggots on a ring canvas. New Jack is scary because he legitimately tried to kill someone during a match. In his own words, he tried to kill Vic Grimes by throwing him from a scaffold wrong. And it's not even wrestlers who are terrified of
I
New
tell you
Jack.
before.
Fans should be too. After all, he's demonstrably not a man concerned by collateral damage. What if Vic Grimes had landed in the crowd? When New Jack went nuts and decided to make an example out of Gypsy Joe, what about all the other fans in attendance in danger of being hit by flying objects? From this footage, New Jack was throwing chairs around with children less than 20 feet away. He's a fucking terrifying madman, and I really must be clear that none of this is praise. Number 3, The Fiend.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not that. I think New Jack did that on accident, of course. But not only for a fact that New Jack was the most scariest wrestler of all time, I know for a fact that he was trying to kill almost other wrestlers, which I don't know, which I don't even care about. I mean, it only costs like a money for any wrestler that got injured or something that you try to destroy a wrestler that will say this, who'll say that, probably a shoot or anything like that. I mean, New Jack was the most shoot wrestlers of all time because I mean he only does that in every single in the deathmatch wrestling or probably hardcore wrestling at the same time. But you can't hate on New Jack just because he does what he wanted to do. Of course, it's the drugs or anything like that. I mean, I'm not addicted to drugs or anything like that. But come on now, it's New Jack we was talking about. So
Footage,
yeah.
New Jack was throwing chairs around with children less than 20 feet away. He's a fucking terrifying madman, and I really must be clear that none of this is praise. Number 3, The Fiend. Wyndham
Oh
Rotunda
my
has had a
God, the
career of horror
Fiend.
highs and horror lows. When Bray Wyatt first arrived in WWE, he was a wonderfully eerie creation, drenched in southern gothic menace, words of
I'll tell you, man, the Fiend is one of the most scariest than Bray Wyatt than or scarier than all time. You know, Fall the Buzzard or all the happy wannabe Sesame Street that always does that by Bray Wyatt, and then it comes out that the Fiend was very amazing. WWE did him wrong, man, cause I mean we haven't seen the Fiend for like a very long time. But I thought that Bray Wyatt was going to AEW as well, but I don't think he could do it, just not yet. I mean, I don't know how, but the problem was that I think um one of the mental problem from Bray Wyatt, because I know that he was more depressed than I have, and I think that's the only problem now this happened. So yeah, like WWE did Bray Wyatt wrong, man, and very nasty. Like, come on, WWE, you know better than that. Like, get get the Fiend or Bray Wyatt or how you want to call it a chance, man. Like, I think I know that I think I know that the I think I know that Bray Wyatt's gonna return WWE for I think until next year or probably in Royal Rumble. Cause yeah, I think so. I really think so.
Throwing chairs around with children less than 20 feet away. He's a fucking terrifying madman, and I really must be clear that none of this is praise. Number 3, The Fiend. Wyndham Rotunda has had a career of horror highs and horror lows. When Bray Wyatt first arrived in WWE, he was a wonderfully eerie creation, drenched in southern gothic menace, words of honey poison, and the henchman from Wrong Turn at his beck and call. That gimmick devolved somewhat to the point of haunted tractors, dirty fridges, and whatever mud-smeared shaky cam tedium the New Day's big vacation at the Firefly compound was supposed to be. Bad that Bray Wyatt went away and, like Bruce Wayne, found a costumed alter ego to strike fear into the hearts of criminals everywhere. The saga of The Fiend was not always good, but bloody hell, it was always interesting. At some point, legit psychological horror and the kind of slasher invulnerability that Jason looks at with pure envy in his side eye. The Fiend may be gone, but his debut at SummerSlam will never be forgotten. The lantern carved out of the severed head of his past failed gimmick is possibly my favorite prop in the history of the business. Beats the hell out of an urn. Anyway, it might be the best horror monster debut ever. Actually, wait, it's the second. The first has gotta be number 2, Kane. Kane was the best. OG Kane was the goddamn best. Every pyro a jump scare. My personal favorite mask in all of wrestling. The costume that somehow avoided looking like a Power Ranger villain and managed to be both imposing.
Yeah, he looked like the damn looked like a monster Power Ranger. You know, Red Ranger from the Power Ranger. I look more like I'm gonna look like more like him like that because of it. Cause that's amazing how they made like just like that. And yes, man, Kane gotta be one of the most scariest wrestler of all time, man. Like, due to the '90s, yo, Kane freaking scares the hell out of me more than the Undertaker. Cause god damn, man, I didn't want to fight him anyways. But um, but I did have some very reference of it just in case. But yeah, man.
It's the second. The first has gotta be number 2, Kane. Kane was the best. OG Kane was the goddamn best. Every pyro a jump scare. My personal favorite mask in all of wrestling. The costume that somehow avoided looking like a Power Ranger villain and managed to be both imposing and cool. His freakish speed for a big guy. His insane raw power. The fact that for a while he was silent. Kane was so physically composed, much like his brother, able to channel stillness into something far more deadly than rage. With that mask only complementing that poise to make you doubly unsure of when he was suddenly going to feed you your entire soul. And of course, that debut may be the best debut ever, the thick red light ripping the doors off its hinges. WWE's obsessed with making movies. Well, Kane is the best horror movie they ever made. Hands thrown down to make fucking fire appear, which is still cool to this day. I wish he hadn't become a big red mayor. I wish he hadn't done a lot of things, mostly involving Shane McMahon's poor victimized testicles. But I will never forget how terrified I was as a kid to see the big red machine. And number 1, Freddie Blassie. That's right, the man that Attitude Era fans will remember as that lovely grandpa in the wheelchair they would cart out whenever it was time to give an inspirational speech, was a wrestler that once created so much fear and outrage around his terrifying antics that he actually caused wrestling fans to die. He was legitimately one of the most loathed heels in the history of wrestling. He got stabbed by fans, had acid thrown at him. His Cadillac was torched by fans he'd driven out of their minds. He wrestled throughout the 50s and 60s, but reached the peak of his notoriety in Japan, where he would file his teeth down to sharp points and bite his opponents on the forehead, causing them to gush blood. He was a proper Halloween vampire. So the legends go, the sight of seeing this real-life gaijin
More like a damn
bloodsucker
zombie.
snacking on the head of their beloved hero Ricky Dozen caused several Japanese audience members to faint with shock, some to have heart attacks, and reportedly one to even pass away. It's a slightly different way of garnering heat to say insulting Seattle's lack of a basketball team, but it's no less effective. And that's our list. What's your favorite spooky, horror-themed wrestler? Who do you think is the scariest wrestler of all time? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video.
I mean, goddamn, man. No wonder. I mean, did he really bite him all of them? Oh my god. Like, he really bite all of them just one at a time? Like, he's not even a vampire. He's more like a zombie, I guess. But the file that use for the teeth, oh man, like, golly. There's no way that would happen. Even though he did bite almost like Japanese wrestler, almost like American wrestlers, I have to say that was crazy. That was crazy, man. I never know him, but even though he got so old, man, I think, I mean, did what's his name? Freddie Blisser? Hold on, let me. Oh no, Freddie Blassie. I think, did he pass away just for now, or was it last year? Or he go old. I mean, it always happened like back in the days, man. But damn, that is crazy. But yo, that was a great one. That was a great one. Not that bad after all, man. But I think one of my favorite was The Undertaker, Kane. Well, my favorite scary wrestler was The Undertaker, Kane, the Boogeyman, probably the Great Muta, Bull, Finn Balor, as Demon, a Abaddon, and um, Jake the Jake the Snake Roberts. I mean, he's one of the most scariest of all time. New Jack, the Fiend, well, Bray Wyatt, of course, and oh, and Rosemary and Abyss as well. So yeah, I guess that's all of it. That's all of it. But yeah, that was a very great of the top 10 scariest wrestler of all time. I'm probably gonna put my own top 10 of my own just in case. So yeah. But let me know, comment down below. What is your favorite scariest wrestlers of all time? Let me know. Um, no, sorry about that. And I will check it out next time.